So, what is the best fasting length? Wouldn't you want to know? Doesn't everybody want to know? If you're going to start intermittent fasting, or if you're trying to recalibrate your fast, what's the best time frame to choose? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. All right, so there's actually a twofold answer to this question. What is the best fasting length in terms of scientific evidence, scientific studies, and in terms of just the scientific biological information on what happens when you fast? I'm going to go ahead and give both of those answers. The first one, let's talk about the biological part, how your body reacts to fasting. When you go into a fast, it normally takes 8 to 12 hours for your body to switch over. This is called the metabolic switchover, where your insulin goes down to baseline and your body depletes glucose. When this happens, your body has to replace the energy source that glucose provided to your brain and replace it with ketones. It is in this process that your body uses body fats or fatty acids, breaks them up, and using the liver converts those fatty acids into that energy source called ketones to replace glucose. Because this is happening, you are essentially burning more body fat. Even though you're on a caloric deficit and that will burn calories, burning calories doesn't always necessarily mean you're burning fat. There's a lot of things that can carry calories, such as muscle mass and even glucose. So when you deplete glucose and you're using body fat for energy, you're also assisting your body's calorie partitioning to burn more body fat just off of the sheer need for that ketone energy source. So with this in mind, essentially, the longer you fast, the more you are burning. Because remember, even if you do 16 hours, you're still only in this process for about 4 hours. If you take into account that it takes you 12 hours to get into this metabolic switchover. But there is a drop-off period. And from the studies that we've seen, the drop-off is not necessarily a dramatic one, but it is a kind of plateauing of this system because your body still requires glucose. Your brain prefers glucose and could only use the ketone energy source for about 75% of its energy. So because of that, your brain is going to start doing other things to try to figure out, what should I do to get this glucose? And this is when they do what's called glucose neogenesis and start breaking down muscle mass and turning it into glucose, because that's what your brain prefers. So in mass studies, what we've seen is that there's a cutoff around 48 hours. So you don't want to go past 48 hours, but keep in mind that every individual person might have their own cutoff. Yes, on a large scale, it might be 48 hours, but on an individual level, you should know how long it takes you to get into that glucose neogenesis. That's why I'm a heavy advocate for the Lumen device, which Lumen is a sponsor of this channel. And you can see the link down in the description box below. You can get your Lumen for literally $50 off if you click that link. But it helps you a lot because it'll let you know what your individual fasting cutoff is, as all you have to do is breathe into the Lumen and it could tell you if you're burning carbs or burning fat. And if you go to sleep while going into a fast and wake up and should be burning fat because you've done that metabolic switchover, if you notice that you're burning carbs, that means your body may have hit its threshold and started to break down muscle. So if you guys are curious about that and want to make sure that that's always under control, you can go ahead and click that link down and put the promo code Fledge Fitness 50 to get that $50 off. Anyways, just keep that in mind. So basically, in terms of getting the most bang for your buck on a mass scale, in terms of the studies, 48 hours is the cutoff. Now, when it comes to the actual studies showing the positive results, which means which are the ones that have shown the best results overall, that always tends to be the 16-8. Maybe it's just short enough to be as potent as possible and just long enough to get past that metabolic switchover period and get some bang for your buck. I don't know what it is exactly, but the 16-8 shows positive results almost all the time when compared to a control group, especially when allowed to eat ad libitum, which means that they can eat as much as they want. They still tend to lose more weight than the control group that are not doing the 16-8. The 16-8, in terms of the studies, wins out simply because of his win rate. It'll be very difficult to find 16-8 studies out there that didn't have a positive result for intermittent fasting. 16-8 is also the more comfortable one with the biggest bang, meaning there are other intermittent fasting regimens that are shorter than 16 hours of fasting, but I think 16 hours puts you in a good time frame where you at least have the peace of mind of knowing that you have activated that metabolic switchover. Because remember, 8 to 12 hours is just an estimate. It is possible that some people might be 13 hours, or even that some people might be 7 hours. You don't know for sure how long it takes your individual body to switch over, but we do know that there's a rough range of about 8 to 12 hours. And with that in mind, 16-8 kind of puts you right in that perfect sweet spot where you are almost ensuring that you're getting to that point and getting a few hours minimum of fat burning. So those are the best lengths. If you're looking for the individual biological factor of how much can I burn before it's like starts to plateau or starts to taper off, 48 hours. If you're looking to see, based on the amount of studies that we have, which were the more successful studies and the most consistently successful studies, it's the 16-8. Hopefully this video has helped you guys, and of course, as always, I'll see you in the next one.